Hello and welcome to the first July episode of Sutton and Back Family Style. I'm Jason.
I'm Bill, and I'll start us off with our business moment.
All right, what do we got?
Have you played Fortnite?
I have. I played it this week.
And what do you think?
It's a fun game. I mean, it's for me personally, and I think there's certain. I'm a very eclectic gamer where I play lots of different genres and I play them on different platforms. I sometimes run into the problem when I go to an online shooter that's played in normal groups that's all they play. I'm just too outclassed as a shooter, because they've still never synced up all the the X on the Xbox is different than the X on the PlayStation, which is different than the X on the Nintendo controller. So it becomes very confusing. But it's a fun game. I mean, I can see why people like it, and it's free to play, and there's no barrier to entry.
What I think is interesting about it is it's really killing it right now, and they have elected not to pursue the team model that like League of Legends and Overwatch have done, and not to pursue the franchising and all that, just to keep it the way it is with independent players playing.
It's brilliant.
And you know what? I think it's probably a smart move because we still have no idea how these things are going to work out with the franchises and the leagues. We think they're going to be good, but we don't know. And this kind of puts them in a situation they can always go to that model, but at the same time now they can kind of control. They can be the independent gaming thing. They can own that space.
And they
so
are
I'm
owning it.
intrigued by that.
Yeah. What's crazy is the first time I heard of Fortnite was when PUBG was complaining that Fortnite was stealing their formula. PUBG was like not the original, but it became in the most recent years. It was like the most popular arena shooter, like battle royale style, where it slowly gets down to just one person left. And then Fortnite released, and PUBG was the leader. And then PUBG just kept talking about how Fortnite was stealing their stuff, and eventually people just moved on to Fortnite, which I thought was it was like if they had just maybe Fortnite, still becomes a success it becomes, but it was sort of weird that they just couldn't stop complaining that this other game was trying to steal their stuff.
No, they're drawing a huge audience.
Well, you can play it, and I've played. I mean, it's my least favorite way to play. Like I've been playing on the Switch, but you can play it on your phone. I don't like phone controls. But I mean, that's a game that when you go to school and you're talking, I mean, not everyone might have a PlayStation or Xbox or a PC or even a Nintendo, but almost every kid at this point has a phone.
Yeah.
So it's like
a battle royale, so there's like hundreds of people playing at the same time, right?
Right. So and it looks like we talked about last week on Business Moment, or maybe 2 weeks ago, where I talked about how PlayStation didn't want to play nice with others.
Right.
It sounds like PlayStation is eventually going to play nice with others. And allow PlayStation players to play with Xbox and Nintendo players. Because Nintendo and Xbox have been doing it back and forth with Minecraft and Fortnite. Which makes them look like, And again, like I said, if you're a young kid playing Fortnite, and this is your entry into gaming, and you see Nintendo is cool, Microsoft is cool, even though Microsoft came out of the gate so lame, and PlayStation's the one that seems like, they came into this generation far behind Xbox. But they came out and they were like, we're all about games, we're all about you, the player. That's all we care about is our fan base. We're going to make it easy to share games, easy to trade games. They did all this, and everyone loved it, and that's why PlayStation has this huge lead right now. But then it's just so bizarre, because it's like you watch this pattern repeat itself almost every decade as they flip-flop over each other.
We'll have to watch this, keep an eye on our esports thing, because it's, again, ever evolving, ever changing. And I think if Fortnite is supposedly putting up over $100 million in prize money for 2019, which is pretty intense. So we'll see where it goes. I mean, I talked to a lot of people that really like it. It's their favorite game, and it's, I guess you don't have to have the equipment you need for League of Legends, right?
You don't
need the memory and the speed and everything you use playing on a regular computer, right?
No, they've got a great upgrades where every time you play, you're making a little progress, whether you do well or not do well. Most of the items you can buy only are cosmetic, And then they have the Battle Pass, which is something you can pay for, which gets you access into some other things. But you can play the base game for free, like I said, on your phone or any of the platforms, which I think, makes it nice and fun. Plus, I mean, they're doing something really smart right now, too. They're releasing a building mode. Because what separates Fortnite from some of the other games, it has a Minecraft-like element where you can build, your own house and structures. Not that you can stay in it, because the map is continually shrinking, pushing you towards each other. but you can build these little bases and structures. You can build these giant ramps and run up. You can build a wall. Like if you see somebody ahead of you, you can keep throwing up walls and keep running behind them as little like shields. And they're releasing a mode now that's like a practice building mode. So you'll be able to just run around online and just practice your building, because that's really going to help you in the competitive shooting part as well.
We'll have to, like I said, we'll have to watch the situation this year, see where it goes.
Yeah.
So you want to have a World Cup moment?
I guess we can have a World Cup moment. I went back to that barbecue place today.
Okay.
And soccer was on the televisions, and I'm good with whatever's on. I don't go there to watch TV and whether to eat barbecue, but I ended up watching the end of Russia-Spain. And I have to say, once again, and I know I don't want to sound like I'm just the anti-soccer person, but like the actual match itself was a lot of just, kicking into midfield, get up, get nowhere near goal, goes down the other end, gets nowhere near goal. The most exciting part was the shootout. And of course, the shootout is both exciting and also obviously not the way you want to lose a game. And then I do have to say that the flopping, especially with replay, is just ridiculous. Like it looks like they've been just, bashed over the head with a baseball bat with the crying and screaming that they do as they fall to the ground. Then you watch the replay and it looks like somebody brushed against their shirt. So, I don't know.
The two biggest players in the game are out. There's no Spain, and no Portugal, and no Argentina.
No.
And their stars are out. And so, I don't know. I might go conspiracy theory on you. It's in Russia.
It is. I mean, The Simpsons actually predicted the 2018 World Cup like 10 years ago, and they predicted that Mexico would win. And Mexico is still alive. And we've seen what the Simpsons have done. They make
see how it all plays out.
Yeah, I would say, though, that I don't have World Cup fever, and I don't think I'm going to get it.
I thought we'd have a World Cup moment.
Yeah, and it's important. Like, I understand that worldwide it is just, enormous, and it's sad that I can't get more into it.
Well, my shocker of the week has to be Paul George re-signing with Oklahoma City.
Yes.
Because I did not see that coming. And, part of me was wondering if he didn't like the LeBron, Kawhi rumors in L.A. where he would be excluded. But he never even talked to L.A., according to the reports.
Well,
Oklahoma City, they planned the party, and that was it.
What I've heard from, obviously, everybody's favorite NBA guy, Woj, is that he really, that Oklahoma City, obviously took a risk taking him, but they took him because they thought they could sell their city, they could sell their culture, they could sell their organization. And apparently they did a great job of it. He and Russ bonded, became incredibly close friends. He loves fishing, being like sort of outdoors, which is a good place in Oklahoma. Not that there probably isn't good fishing in LA too, but I'm sort of surprised at the contract itself. I sort of thought maybe there'd be a 1-and-1 where he'd sign for this year and be, and have a player option for next year, sort of like KD just did in Golden State. Or I thought he'd get the full 5, because I think I think Oklahoma could have given him the full 5-year, right?
I think they could have, but I think that would put him so far into the luxury tax thing even further than they are.
Right, but if I'm Paul George, I've got that leverage. So But he signed a 3-and-1, which means he's in Oklahoma City for the next 3 seasons. Which, I don't know, like it's different.
It is different. I'm just really, really, really surprised.
Yeah.
And the Kawhi Leonard thing seems to be taking a little longer. And the Spurs they're not in any hurry. They're not going to be held up over this. They're going to get value.
I think the problem is I don't think anybody wants to give them value. Because they know, part of it is Kawhi Leonard is going to be a free agent next year, and he is not signing in San Antonio. Like, that bridge has been burned.
Yeah. And so if you're Boston, you're not going to trade for him unless he's going to sign.
Right. If you're Boston, if you're Philly, and he's been very adamant about, I want to be in LA. His uncle wants to be in LA. Well, I shouldn't say he has. I should say all of his people, because Kawhi is one of those players that, much like Mike Trout, I have no idea what his voice sounds like.
Yeah.
What's funny, though, is I did hear that, I remember when that Tony Parker came out and said my injury was 100 times worse than this. I did think that was pretty harsh, in the moment. And supposedly, again, and I have to say supposedly, because this is through all the back channels of his people talking, that was sort of that was like the straw that broke the camel's back, was his teammates, publicly being like, my injury was way worse, he should be here. So I don't know if that was Popovich's strategy or if that was just the players mouthing off on their own, but it clearly backfired. So we'll have to see. But, I mean, I don't know what you give up for Kawhi. If you're the Lakers, even if you get LeBron this year, if I'm LeBron, I realize I'm 30.
Well, if you're the Lakers, you're going to give up whatever you can to get him if he's going to get LeBron for you.
Right, but I think you might get.
That's what you do.
I think you might get LeBron anyway.
I don't know. You're not going to get LeBron unless they have another player to go with him.
Well, supposedly LeBron is in love with another player, another free agent currently, who's slightly injured though. There's a big rumor that he wants to play with Boogie Cousins.
And if you're the Lakers, how much money do you invest in Boogie Cousins? Because you don't know. And Achilles is a bad injury to come back from, and you don't know what you're getting.
Especially at a 6'11", almost 300-pound man.
Yeah.
It's even more so.
So
But
obviously, New Orleans would pay more for him than LA. So we'll have to see. It's interesting.
But if I'm LeBron, like if I could bring in a Boogie, let's just say, and I know I'm going to have him for the second half of the season, and I got Kuzma, Josh Hart, Ingram, and even Ball, who I still like. Lonzo Ball had a nice rookie season. He played excellent defense. He averaged like 8 assists a game. Like his shot looks like the worst guy at a rec league. But he's not a bad player. Like I think if we were reviewing Lonzo, like I said, I think I talked about it last week. If he was Lonzo Smith and he didn't have the crazy father yelling stuff out, like I think he might be considered a much more valuable piece to trade. I don't know.
It's going to be very, very interesting next week.
I almost think, though, that the Lakers aren't... I mean, no matter what, you've got to... I know the argument would be... Because with Boston, Philly in the East, I don't think it's that much easier of a road for LeBron to go with that crappy Cleveland team than it would be for him to go with, a young Lakers team.
No, I agree. But, I mean, we don't know what the Cleveland team would look like. Because obviously they want to talk and they have some ideas about what they can do, what they can move. So we'll see.
Right. Well, there's still talk that they could bring in Kemba Walker, a player I really like. And if you have LeBron, Kemba Walker, you've got a couple veteran mid-range guys that just buyout guys like whoever they end up being this year, along with Kevin Love and some of those other pieces. Maybe you can make another run in the East.
Well, Kemba Walker's in Charlotte, right?
Yeah, but he's in the last year of his deal. And supposedly during the draft, Charlotte really liked Collins. They love Sexton, the guy that Cleveland drafted. So if you're Charlotte, if you could get away from you get away from your impending free agent, you bring in another young guy, and you start with a backcourt of Sexton and Monk and move forward.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you get something else from Cleveland too. I don't know, but at least a second or something. That's a better Cleveland team going back next year because Kemba Walker's a gamer and he could shoot. As people said, he's sort of in a non-insulting way. They've said like a poor man's Kyrie Irving. But I would maybe argue that he's also healthy all the time, which Kyrie Irving clearly is not.
Like I said, this is going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out.
Yes, it will. And we still have Clint Capella out there because, if he leaves the Rockets, that's a pretty big loss for them, I think.
All right. When I was in Minnesota with the Timberwolves this week, I saw their city uniform that they're going to release in November.
Uh-huh.
And I can't comment on it, but I can tell you this will be the number one selling uniform in the NBA next year.
Ooh, okay.
And it won't be close. It won't be close.
Well, now I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely freaking amazing. They'll wear it 6 times, and they get to announce it November 1st, I believe it is. So, listeners, on November 1st, Jason and I will do a special show, and we'll talk about this, because this is going to be huge.
That is exciting.
Huge. You'll want one.
I'm excited.
Okay.
I had a bit of an odd moment yesterday. Okay. I don't remember exactly which social media platform it was on, but somebody posted you remember like we used to have the big hits at the end of Sunday Night Countdown on NFL Network?
Mm-hmm.
They posted one from last year. They posted it just like the other ones. It was just like the Tommy and Chris Berman one. Like it just was, had had some exciting music playing, and they just showed these crushing hits. And I think for the first, and I remember like growing up, like I loved that. It was my favorite part of the night, watching those hits, you know?
Yeah.
And it was different. This is the first time I've ever watched one of those videos, and I found it oddly, a little bit cringy. Not completely, obviously, because I'm still not a great person, apparently, so inside. But I mean, there was something about watching it that every time I saw somebody get hit, I was worried about their health. I was hoping they would be okay.
What year was it from?
This year.
Whoa.
That's the thing. It was just like somebody had put together a compilation of just, you know, they just took the big hits from this year. And again, it wasn't like an ironic video, like look at these big hits and it's anti. It was like it was a very, you know, it was just like the old school one. It was like, how awesome are these hits? And like I said, it had the exciting music, and it would show boom and the big hit, and it would show from a couple angles and move to the next one and the next one and the next one. And it wasn't the same. It just wasn't the same. I mean, I guess, you know, knowledge changes a lot, you know?
Yeah.
It was not, like I said, every time I saw somebody, I was like, I hope they're, and some of them, you know, like, because it was just last season, I knew that they either were or were not okay, and it just, you know, it was different. And that's the first, I think that might be the first time I really ever thought about it. I mean, I've thought about it a lot, but like, watching those hits take place and something like this, I guess because I just had so many memories of just, you know, we watched the Steeler game.
Go online this week and watch some of the Steeler highlight films from the 70s.
Oh, I've watched the old ones.
And you'll wonder how they even got up and walked away.
Oh, I've seen those old on NFL Network. Those are just brutal. You could clothesline guys.
Brutal.
I mean, you were forearm shivers to the face and the head. Those are just brutal.
Yeah, it was brutal.
Yeah. Awful.
Well, I had 2 food moments this week.
Well, we love food moments.
We love food moments. So my first food moment was Tuesday night. We all went to Parlor Burger in Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd already said on the show that when I had the Parlor Burger in the arena, I said it was the best burger I had maybe ever. And so I took your mother and Aunt Janet and Tom and everybody to Parlor Burger on Tuesday night. And everybody was blown away by how great the burger was.
I see.
I mean, it's just absolutely, it's just 2 patties, 2 pieces of cheese and a bun. And it's unbelievable.
Huh.
So I got to tell people, go to Parlor Burger in the Loop in Minneapolis if you're in Minneapolis.
So the style
and
of
my
the...
other food,
So the...
my other food moment was Al's breakfast, which I posted on Twitter. I had blueberry pancakes topped with blackberries. Al's, it looks like the building looks like it's an accident. It's the smallest building on the street. If you sit at the counter, you can touch the back wall. And there's only 17 stools and no booths and no tables.
Oh.
And it is, I took your mom there, and it's absolutely ridiculous. It's so good. And then you just get people, you know, luckily we got there early. You know, we got there at 7 a.m. because they didn't want to be there at 8 and have people 2 or 3 deep standing behind you waiting for your stool.
No, definitely not.
So, but it was absolutely amazing.
So back to Parlor Burger. It's in the same format, if you will, of like a Shake Shack, Five Guys, where it's the double patty with No,
it's a bar.
But I mean, the burger itself, though, it's 2 patties.
It has burgers.
But it's 2 patties, you said, right? It's 2
patties, a little crisp, kind of like a Shake Shack, but but there's no condiments. They don't offer you any, and there is none.
So there's not even any to get there.
Nope.
This is like I made this restaurant.
I mean, I imagine you could ask for, you bring your French fries with dipping sauce, and I imagine you could get some ketchup for your French fries or something.
Sure.
So maybe put that on your burger, but I got to tell you, you don't need it.
Well, I never need it. I mean, I like burgers in their purest form. So for me, that's, you know.
This would be the highlight of your life. This would be the best burger because everybody feels that way about this burger.
It's like, that's insane because that's exactly how I like my burger.
I know. It's just unbelievable. So PGA Tour today. So I was waiting for the PGA Tour to come on because I wanted to watch it. And I watched, I turned on CBS early, maybe an hour early. And there was a show called For the Good of the Game. And it was all these things that the PGA Tour players do, and it is absolutely amazing. I mean, I was just thinking to myself, I wish every pro athlete was this involved in doing stuff like this, because this was really heartwarming stuff.
I think that there are. I mean, I don't think enough athletes get credit for all the stuff that
No, but I mean, this was well produced. It was a great storytelling, but it was a great story to be able to tell.
Yeah. And again, I mean, even I know from some experience of people I know that work there, like the WWE, like John Cena is far and away does more for.
Yeah, John Cena's special.
But there's a lot of WWE
John
guys.
Cena's special.
He's special, but like there's a lot of those WWE guys that do tons, and it's just I don't know. It's kind of sad that again, all that's. I mean, in the NFL player. I mean, there's lots of
Yeah, you got to tell a story, Jason. You got to tell a story. Nobody knows about it.
It's true.
And so this was the show. I don't know how well viewed it is, because it's like the hour before the show, and people are really watching golf. They're watching the Golf Channel because it's still on the Golf Channel until it switches over to CBS. So this is like the hour before the players start playing.
Right, but it still seems like
I was just really blown away. It was really, really good, and and then I turned on, and Tiger Mania was at full force.
Of course.
And after the first 9 holes, I think he was 4 back, and then he had a bad back 9, and the guy from Italy was winning. The last time I looked, he was minus 20, and he would be the first Italian to win in America, I think, since 1947.
Oh wow. I would say though that again, it's sad, and it's not just this part of our culture; it's every part of our. It's not just sports, but people like the more salacious, scandalous story than they do the nice story. And I've seen all the psychological reasons why. That sometimes that, as bizarre as it is, when they watch people doing nice things for other people, it makes them feel bad about themselves, which is a very weird phenomenon. But apparently, that's what psychologists have come up with.
It's always been around, but this was so good because it was doing really good things for other people.
Yeah,
and they were really people that. It was really great. I watched Ricky Fowler. I watched Justin Thomas. I watched a lot of people. It was really, really amazing. I really, Jordan Spieth. I really watched the guys that they were doing.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, I did not have any new food moments. I went to 2 of my classic places that I've mentioned on here multiple times. The only thing new is I went to the barbecue place today, and I did try this. It's their famous spoon cornbread, which is just, it's cornbread in a bowl. So it's almost just like chopped up cornbread for the most part. It's a little bit moister at the bottom. But I didn't know what I was expecting, but I expected something kind of cooler than that. So
Did they top it with anything? It was just a bowl of cornbread.
It's basically just a bowl of chopped up cornbread. It is the kind of cornbread that has the pieces of actual corn in it, if that affects anybody's judgment of it.
Good. I like this.
Okay, because I know like down here we get a lot of jalapenos in the cornbread, but this is just the cornbread with pieces of corn in it. But I didn't know what spoon cornbread meant. I sort of, in my mind, I imagined it like a drop biscuit, where it was like you just took a little bit of the cornbread material and you made like a little spoonful mini cornbreads.
Yeah.
But it was like basically, like I said, chopped up cornbread in a bowl. That had a little bit more moisture to it, I think, than normal cornbread. But not enough that you would really need it. I mean...
Well, I also want to talk about my athletic director search. I said I would talk about that this week.
Oh, yes.
So we announced our athletic director on Tuesday, and we had a press conference for him Friday. And our new athletic director is Michael Kelly. And he was the president of the college football playoff for the last 5 years. Prior to that, he was a senior associate AD at the Atlantic Coast Conference. And prior to that, he chaired the Super Bowl committee in Miami, the one in Tampa, and the one in Jacksonville.
And we went to the Super Bowl in Tampa. It was very nice.
Very nice. And so the public really seemed to get around this and embrace this. And we wanted somebody with clean, not a questionable reputation, and we got that. And so it went over really, really well. I'm happy that it's over, and I'm happy I had a chance to do it. And I think he'll be a great AD here at USF.
Very nice.
And the one thing I would say about chairing a search for an athletic director is you got to put up with a lot of chirping in your ear. Lots of people have opinions. Lots of people have suggestions.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
Not a lot of them make sense.
Well,
and everybody wants to have a horse in the show.
Yes, everybody does. Well, I mean, it's the who you know sort of thing. And, if you can help put somebody in that position, that's only going to help you. So it makes a lot of sense from that standpoint. But it's nice. It sounds like you guys
And
found the
my
right
last
person.
thing is, Mom and I watched the movie last night. Was Game Night.
Yeah, but I watched that as well.
You did?
Yeah, I really liked it. I thought it was
What'd you
good. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was an enjoyable hour and a half. I didn't think it was outrageously funny.
No,
You could kind of see the ending coming.
Yeah,
But it was enjoyable.
I would say this, and I guess this is, we're near the end of the podcast, so I'm going to maybe spoil something. Not really, but whatever. So there's your chance to tune away if you. I mean, Game Night it's been on Blu-ray and DVD for a while now. But what I thought, my complaint was, I thought they found out it was real too soon in the film.
Yeah, you're right. They could have dragged it. I was a little surprised by that too.
Because I think we're barely through Act 1, like 30 minutes into the movie, they figure out it's real, then they're just going to save the brother.
Yep.
I was the trailer sort of implied that they almost never figured it out till the end, and I sort of thought that might have been a more funny movie.
I thought it would too.
Because
like I said, it was an enjoyable hour and a half.
Right. Exactly. No, it was pretty good. Like I said, it was, it didn't stay around too long, had enjoyable people in it, but like I said, I think if they had kept them in the dark a little bit longer, it could have been funnier, to me, personally.
Yeah.
Oh, and I guess my TV moment is, have you ever seen The Detour on TBS? It's a comedy.
No.
It stars, what's that guy's name? Jason, he was a Daily Show guy, and Natalie Z from, our show, Justified. And it's a little bit like National Lampoon's The TV Show. Vacation, the TV show.
Okay.
Where he's on I don't want to give away too much. It's worth watching. But they're driving from the upper East Coast down to Florida, and he's got this thing that he has to do for work. And he's brought his family along, and chaos ensues. But it's really funny.
Well, next thing I'm going to watch, I taped Succession
Okay.
on HBO. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm intrigued by the advertising.
I've thought about that one a couple times as well. There's two.
I know there's 4 episodes on today, and so I'm taping all those and then the new episode so I can kind of see what's up.
We have it on demand too. You can just go on demand to watch it.
Yeah. But I'm curious to see how it is.
Yeah, there's 2 miniseries that came out on Amazon that I'm very interested in. There's a very British scandal with Hugh Jackman. It's based on a true story. It's only 3 episodes long. It's about he plays a member of Parliament that gets involved in a scandal, and it's a big cover-up. It got really good reviews. And then there's The Disappearance at Something Rock. It stars Natalie Dormer, who we all love from Game of Thrones. And it's a historical piece in Australia about missing girls from a school. Looks interesting.
Yeah, okay.
I love the short miniseries kind of stuff. I just think it's very satisfying to get a beginning, middle, and end of a story. I like that.
Well, next week we could talk about the resolution, hopefully, of some more NBA free agency.
Well, obviously, we got to wait for that big domino, LeBron James, to fall, which he claims he's going to be done by the 4th of July, right?
I don't know.
Well, speaking of 4th of July, we wish all listeners a very happy 4th of July. If you can avoid it...
all of our first responders and our service people for their contributions.
Yes, and if you can avoid it, don't participate in fireworks. It's not just people's pets. It's also squirrels and other forest animals that it really upsets.
Yep.
It's not that cool.
Go watch fireworks. Don't have your own.
Yeah, definitely don't have your own. And go if you have to have them, go watch. But yeah, we know personally our own personal pet, my sister Neela, the dog. She's probably an extreme example, but she just gets terrified every single time fireworks go off. And you guys live in Florida, which means they go off more frequently than other states for sure. But it's just something. It'd be nice if you guys didn't, no home fireworks. We also don't want any more Jason Paul Pierre situations where somebody loses a finger, which happens literally every year. So that's my PSA for no fireworks for animals.
All right.
Once again,
We'll talk to you next week.
Please subscribe and please rate us and come join us on Patreon. We could use some more family members. A little bit helps. Thank you. Bye.